Hello, hello. Welcome in, my YouTube friends. Hope you're doing well tonight. Hope you're doing well. So come on in, come on in. So listen, I want to talk about tonight. Just should I eat more or should I, in order to lose weight, should I eat more in order to lose weight? So I'm going to tell you some things that I had talked to this nutritionist about. Is a dietitian nutritionist, and yeah, come on in so you can hear me out in this. I'm trying to work through some things that we've talked about. It was one of my first visits. Well, actually, my first visit on yesterday. And so, yeah, I'm thinking more so getting back to basics, the basics of, a better health journey, a journey to lose weight, get to my goal weight. And yeah, that's what I'm talking about tonight. So, have you ever been told to eat more calories to lose weight? That sounds kind of weird to me. Eating more to weigh less? Yeah. Think about that for a moment. Hmm. And then just let you know that my experience, since I've been on a weight loss journey, you know, part of my better health journey, um, I experienced it the opposite way. So eating less helped me to lose more. So yes. So today I want to, go back to the basics, like I said before, when it comes to healthy nutrition and weight loss, while living with type 2 diabetes, CKD, which is chronic kidney disease, obesity, still struggling with that a little bit, and then hormone imbalances that I have. And of course, I use a GLP-1 medication, which is Mounjaro, to help me, manage my type 2 diabetes. But it also is a tool that can help me lose weight. So yes, I want to talk about that tonight. And, just to kind of get your opinion as well, like what are you doing on your journey currently? And even maybe at some point you found out that, doing the things that you may have done before, you know, may need to have been tweaked a little bit so that you can make sure that you continue to lose weight if you're, on a weight loss journey, or to make sure that your health is better, since you've been on your better health journey. What are you doing? So, yes, let's talk about it tonight. Also, like I said, I talked to a nutritionist. This is a new company that I decided to go with. Um, and I had a meeting with them yesterday, the person yesterday. And so, yes, it's some calorie changes she wants me to do. And, normally at the beginning, when you do your first consult, it's kind of more like a consultation. And so next week, we're going to talk a little bit more. But I do want to kind of share with her some things, how I feel about the things that she did put in the app for me. So, yeah, I want to talk about that tonight with my Sweet Life Squad. So I'm gonna introduce. I'm saying hey to everybody in the chat. Hello, Felicia Marie B. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in tonight. Hello, Boss Wade. Thanks for coming in. Hope you all are doing well tonight. Yes, I've heard of that. Yep. So yeah, I mean, I know we've been talking about it. Some people have been talking about it on this platform. And so I know the people that are definitely, maybe natural girlies, or guys, because they can eat more, of course, but for those who are on a GLP-1 medication, trying to get, like use the same amount of calories or eat the same amount of calories as somebody that's natural, when a GLP-1 medication does, help with satiety. So you're not, wanting to eat as much food as, those who are not on a GLP-1 medication, or for those who may have had VSG surgery, like bariatric surgery, any one of those. And now some of them may be on a GLP-1 now. You're saying, hey, I want you to eat just as much as somebody that has never, had surgery before, or has never, been placed on a GLP-1 by their doctors before. How do you do it? How do you do it? So that's what I want to talk about tonight. Hello, Grant. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. He said, hello, hello. Sweet ladies, how are you tonight? So people are saying hello to each other. Uh, Grant says, yes, you should eat enough calories to keep that metabolism moving. Now, I do agree with that. I do agree with that, Grant. That's so true. The question is, how many calories do I need to eat? Do I have to eat, you know, as much as they're saying to eat? Are we using this TDEE calculator and just going by that? Because when we think about it, say for instance TDEE, and I know a lot of people, talk about TDEE calculator, which is the total, what is it, expenditure? Look, I got to look up the name. Hold on, because I don't forget exactly what those E's mean. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm saying it right, honey. All right, so total daily energy expenditure calculator. Okay, so how much you're trying to, eat per day with calories. It talks about, depending on your height, your weight, your BMR, um, what else? Other your activity level. So some people do use that and use it faithfully. Some people don't. I know. I wonder if did y'all decide what the amount of calories you should use by using the TDEE calculator. I know most of us know about TDEE calculator on here, but yes, are you using that? I know I talked to you all at one point. I did a live with Shia Tamika about are we doing this TDEE wrong? But it's something that continues to come up, and in my mind, and then just out here, on social media. And so I just want to make sure I'm doing what I need to do, everything that I need to do to make sure that I am, maximizing my the tools and the resources I have to make sure that I'm, becoming better at health, to get to my goal weight and things of that nature. So yes. So Felicia says, I've lost most of my weight at 1,800 calories versus 1,500, and I felt much better upping my calories. That's what Felicia has stated. Hello, Miss Linda. How you doing? Great to see you tonight. Thank you for coming in, my dukes. All right. So Grant is just saying hi. Let's see. All right, so everybody is saying hello to one another. So thanks for coming in tonight. So yes, have you used TDEE before? The TDEE calculator to figure out what your calories is, what your macros should be, your fats, your the amount of carbs you should eat, or the amount of protein you should get per day. And truth be told, like, are you able to, get to those calories? Because I know a lot of people say, oh, yeah, this is what I do. But this is my goal. But are you actually meeting that goal every day? Is it easy to meet the goal? Is it kind of hard to meet the goal? If you're using the TDEE calculator, also, talked to a dietitian nutritionist, and, are they expecting you to eat way more calories than you normally would on your weight loss journey, on a GLP-1 medication, or like I said, VSG surgery, or both? Now, like I said, I know before I started my GLP-1 journey, I definitely could eat, say, say if I'm at a weight loss, I was able to eat 1,700 calories easy, right? No issues with it. And probably way more than that, right? Hence me gaining some weight over time, because I was able to maintain my weight pretty well. I started gaining a lot of weight once I've, had my last baby, and I never like lost it back. And so even though I tried to, here and there or what have you, but it seemed like it's still, I lost something that creeped right back up to, what it was used to being, my weight. And so, yeah, then as time progressed and I got older, and the hormones start acting up, then I started going up a little bit more here and there, to the point where I got to, my recorded weight loss when I started this journey was 253 pounds, 253 pounds. And so, yeah. So at that point, yes, I could eat. I could eat a regular, regular meals with no problem. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I if I chose to do that, and a snack if I wanted to. But most of the time I did not eat breakfast. It was more so, lunch and dinner, and then maybe a snack in between. So what are you all thinking about that? What are you all doing on your GLP-1 journey? If you don't mind saying so, are you using this TDEE calculator and sticking to it? Or are you, I know Felicia has already stated her, what she's doing, but, What are you all doing? I want to hear from you all tonight, and I might need some help trying to get, what I've been told, or I won't say told because she's not making me do it, but what she's recommended as my new dietitian, nutritionist. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about that. That the information she gave me for as a takeaway for me on yesterday. All right, and then we're gonna talk again next week about it and see how I'm doing and everything. So I want to kind of think it through with you all. Of course, you telling me something is not something I'm going to just say. Okay, I'm just going to do this. But it's nice to kind of just think it out. Loud for me at least. So Ms. Linda says, of course, Grant, I did. Okay, I do get to see you all on your hike sometime. Oh, yes, yes, yes. All right. Let's see. Let me see. Awesome as do we. Okay. Yep, yep, yep. Talking about his hike with his family. Hello, Ruth. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Greatly appreciate it. Finishing up. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Grant, for coming in. Yes. So yeah. So I'm going to just let you all know. So I talked to a nutritionist yesterday, and it was with Faye Nutrition. I wanted to get with, have a rapport and build something with Nourish nutrition dietitians. But unfortunately, my insurance company, even though I'm with Blue Cross, they won't allow me to. They're not in network with with Nourish. They don't have a contract with Nourish or what have you. So with that being said, if I decide to go through Nourish, either I'm going to have to pay out of pocket full, or I'm going to have to, do like out of network, and then I pay 50%. And I didn't really want to do that. So I was like, let me try before I do anything like that. Let me try and see if I can find somebody in network. And it was hard to find somebody in my city for as a dietitian nutritionist in my city when I talked to the representative at Blue Cross and Blue Shield. That's under my plan. So evidently, there's some because I've used a dietitian before. Matter of fact, I've used 3 since I've been on this journey. So with that being said, I know one of the dietitians was through my endocrinologist. She actually works, within his practice. And then the other one was with my insurance company. They have like a care team specialist that helps, there is an RN, which, registered nurse that can help you when it comes to nutrition, as well as exercise and things of that nature. It could be, even with if there's issues where you're trying, they pretty much advocate for you. So for those who may be older, and may need some help when it comes to advocating for you, and you're having sometimes, having issues with your, getting things when it comes to talking to your healthcare provider, your PCP, or whoever, whatever doctor, whatever healthcare team you have, they do have, often have things through your insurance company that can help you, people that can help you navigate through getting help when it comes to your PCP and rest of your healthcare team. They do have those services a lot of times for free. So yeah. So when I was with Aetna, yeah, I had a main dietitian what is it called? Healthcare specialist that helped me out, right? And then they had all those. They had a nutritionist. They had a dietitian nutritionist. They also had, like I said, a person that can help you when it comes to pharmacy, and they also had a person that can help you, when it comes to exercise or any just regular things. It went up to that one person, that registered nurse that could help me out in general with the questions that I had. Or like I said, just to say, hey, I want to make sure you're good. Do you need my help? Even when it comes to getting your PAs and things of that nature. Even sometimes talking to, like, say, for instance, your pharmacy or PBM, right? So things like that. So I think that was good. I tried to use them just to kind of see, how that went. And then I use them kind of like on a need as needed basis. And so, yeah, I think that's good if, for like I said, for those who may be having issues, not understanding some of the things that you're going through, they can kind of help you, navigate through your better health journey. And like I said, they can talk to you like once a month, as needed basis, or however, just to make sure that you are understanding what's going on. A lot of times when you're with your doctor at your doctor's appointments, you may not you don't have so much time with them because they have so many patients they have to see per day. So if you walk away from there and you start thinking, later on that evening, like, oh, they told me this, but I don't understand it, then they have somebody that can help you, with your insurance company that can kind of go through some of those things with you so you can understand it better. What your doctor has been asking you. Now they're not going to diagnose you or anything like that. They're not going to talk against what your doctor is telling you, but they can kind of help navigate you through it so that you can make sure that you have everything you need, so that your better health journey is a little bit more smooth. So yes. Let's see who else is talking before I get into my little spiel. All right, so Bosso says I just go by my appetite. Some days I am able to eat 3 times a day, and some days I may only eat 2 times a day. Understandably so. Yes, that's me as well, Boss Way. All right, Felicia says I've only used TDE a handful of times, but listening to my dietitian really helped me understand my nutrition individually. Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And then also I noticed like I really got like interested in Nourish because I heard, some people within the Sweet Life Squad talking about Nourish and how good they were, how detailed they were, how, they not only talked to you like overall, but they're talking, like more individualized plans. And I thought that was sweet, and even talking about why you should eat these things, going more in detail with the person so that they can understand it, not just say, oh, eat sauerkraut because it's good for gut, and when you don't even like sauerkraut, so they kind of cared about what you thought about, what you like as well, so that it can be more sustainable for you, not just just you need to eat this because yogurt is good for you. But what if you don't like yogurt? Then we don't need to talk about yogurt because I don't want to eat it, and it's not something I'm going to continue to eat. I'll buy that stuff and it'll just sit in my refrigerator. That's not helping me. That's wasting my money. And it also, it's just wasting food in general, which of course we should not do. Right. So buy what you like, so I'm like, I need somebody that's going to, help me better incorporate the foods that I do like, you know, or whatever. So Miss Linda says, I do track, but not with the TDEE. Gotcha. Yes. I remember when I first started on my journey, Miss Linda, I was just writing things down on a, pad and paper, just kind of, say, okay, just to make sure I am getting the protein in, you know, every meal, I'm seeing how much, like I may have tracked it as far as, weighing my food on, maybe using measuring cups and things like that. So I can say, okay, if I do eat, um, or like a scale. If I do eat an apple, how much of this apple am I eating? And I may write it down, and just journaled it out. So that is a good way to track as well, Miss Linda. Thanks for that, sharing that with us. Hello, Beautiful I'm Color. How you doing, sweetheart? I remember Beautiful I'm Color was talking one day about, just being consistent. And consistency is definitely important on our journey, and we, like I said, we talk about some things, but we don't always be that way or do the things, or what have you. But yes, consistency is good. And just I remember her talking about, you know, say if you track, and you may have an issue with tracking every single day, and I remember my dietitian even yesterday saying, hey, I don't want you to track like forever, because that may not be sustainable for people to do. Some people can do it, it's always an exception to the rule, right? But I remember, Beautiful Color was saying, everybody's tracking is a little different. Like even if I say for track 3 times a week, it's still, and being consistent with that, that's still consistency, so that kind of freed me a little bit. Thank you, Beautiful Color. Oh my gosh. She said hello to the Sweet Life Squad. I hope you all are well. I hope you are well too, sweetheart. All right. Ms. Linda says I have lacrosse also, and I was set up with Teledoc program. Yes. They have sent me a weighted axle. that shows my body fat, muscle mass, and weight each time I get on the scale. Awesome. I think that is important. Now, some of these, like for instance, I said the TDE calculator. Now, you don't always have to go through that to the T. That is not in like the scale. I do have a smart scale as well. I know some people have body recomp scales, just the regular smart scale, and it does give us more than just a regular, like the old scales we used to use back in the day where it just showed the number and that's it. It does tell you a little bit about, the fat mass and, the subcutaneous fat and things of that nature. And I think it's, they're awesome to have because it kind of gives you a guide, none of these tools are really, perfect, right? So yes, that's another reason why sometimes, just because it says that does not mean. Now, when that comes, let me just kind of go a little bit further forward. Like I said, start. Miss Linda says also they sent me a blood pressure cuff and a glucose machine with needles. How about that? That's awesome, Miss Linda. That is awesome. That is awesome, honey. Because honey, that stuff can get very expensive, right? Hello, Money. How you doing? So Money is one of the people I was talking about, that actually use Nourish as a dietitian to help her on her weight loss journey. And she was one of the ones that I was like, oh my God, she learned a lot of stuff through a nutritionist, And I say nutritionist, but I'm talking about a dietitian nutritionist, not just regular nutritionist. Which, there's a difference between just a regular nutritionist and a dietitian nutritionist. The main difference is a dietitian nutritionist, they're able to tell you, help you when it comes to comorbidities. If you have, any diseases, or I know people don't like the word disease, but if you have ailments like type 2 diabetes, kidney disease, things of that nature, they can help, they can help you, not just telling you the general things about weight loss, which is what the nutritionist will do, a regular nutritionist. So dietitian is, nutritionists, they actually have credentials further than, they had to take tests and pass, board certifications and things of that nature versus, with a nutritionist. So beautiful color said, girl, I still am not I'm not still, she's still not good with the tracking, but better than she used to be. Awesome, 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 beautiful color. I remember when I started that 21-day consistency challenge, one of the things, because I did several different things with my becoming inner circle, one of them was tracking 3 to 4 days a week. And I was able to sustain that a little bit better than talking about doing it 7 days. I have a love-hate relationship when it comes down to tracking. I think it takes a lot out of me. It's very tedious, as well as very like when I'm ready to eat, it takes a while for me to be ready to eat. And when I'm ready to eat, I'm ready to eat. And then I know on the tracker, because I pay for a tracker, I've been paying for it for, since I started, right after I started my journey. And while it's a great tool to use, like I said, when I'm ready to eat, I'm ready to eat. So trying to I got to weigh my stuff, and then I gotta, or measure it with the measuring spoon or whatever. And then I have to now put it in the tracker and things of that nature. And that can get very tedious for me when I'm ready to eat. so, so with that being said, that's why, I have kind of love-hate relationship. Now, I remember myself, sometimes I would just type it out, like, okay, a fourth of this, a third of this, or what have you, and just wrote it on my, just wrote it down like on my notes in my phone. And it seemed like it was a little bit easier for me, and then go back in and actually track it on the actual tracker. So that kind of helped me out. So, just trying to tweak things and try to figure out how can I do this, a little bit, where it'd be a little bit more easier for me. But just doing it even in the 3 to 4 days, that was much easier than trying to do it 7 days a week. Now, for me, I'm a person, I don't just eat the same foods. Now, for those who like eating the same foods all the time, it's much easier to track, of course. It's much easier to track. But for those who like eating a variety of things, it can be a little bit more difficult, right? It can be. And I know your mindset does play a part in it. You have to look at it different. I say all the time on here, if you think of things different, it's sort of the way you think of things. If you change that, then, it, how you feel about it may change. I'll say it that way tonight. So Bossway says, at least you are trying, beautiful. I'm color. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. And then, like you said, just being consistent with what you're trying to do, I thought was great, and so, like I said, I adopted that during my 21 day consistency challenge, and it worked for me. But am I doing it all the time now? No, I'm not. I'm still, I'm retracting back to I don't want to track. I don't want to track. I want to really intuitive eat is what I really want to do. So I talked to the dietitian yesterday, and I started using Faye Nutrition. Hold on, I miss Mindy's conversation. All right, so Monty says the problem with using TDE, people overestimate their activity levels. So true, so true. My doctor measured my BMR, and I use the InBody scan is what she uses. Awesome, thank you for that, Monty, for saying that. That's so true. Um, and then she also says, I tell Chat GPT what I ate. I try to get general ideal. Okay. I take pictures of the food scale to remind me, and then, but trying to not really track, but focus on protein. All right. So you're protein forward with your tracking, and that's good. Beautiful color. I think you said that too. Like, or maybe you did. Maybe it's somebody else. I don't know. We look at so many people, but um, I know tracking, like some people say, okay, I'm just going to track my protein and protein only, or what have you. And then the rest of it, I'll be, just kind of eyeball it or whatever. Some people do that as well. Just focus on one thing. For me, like for people that are type 2 diabetic, they may say, hey, I'm just going to track my carbs, and then everything else, I'm going to just eyeball it or whatever. And I don't think nothing is wrong with eyeballing. I don't even think you have to track. Like there are people that are successful on this journey that do not track one thing at all, So, that's that. But so let me get to, me talking to this dietitian. Now, I did try to look up somebody since Blue Cross Blue Shield, my plan, because you can have so many, they have multiple plans. And so with our insurance company, they do not allow me to, I'm not in that 94% of the people that's going to pay $0 when it comes to using Nourish dietitianist. Okay. So I looked it up online to see, hey, who is kind of comparable to, what other companies are kind of comparable to Nourish, right? And so I found a company called Faye Nutrition and kind of looked that up or what have you. And so with that being said, they said put my information in, it was just as simple as, who is your, what's your member ID number. I think I want to say I put the name of the company that, I use, which is Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And then I put my member ID in there, and then it came up and said that it was going to be $0. So I'm like, wonderful, and it did. And then when I did my research, it did say that, Faye Nutrition was comparable to Nourish. So they gave me a list of dietitians that work through Faye. And I guess it's licensed, to do things in Florida, which is where I live, and the state I live in. And so I found two people, and it was kind of more so like an any, many, mo, because both of them had good reviews, or what have you. So how I picked mine was who has appointments later on in the afternoon. I like doing my appointments in the afternoon because I normally sleep, kind of late in the morning before I get up, because I go to bed very late. Not no kind of late. I go to bed very late. So in the AM. So I normally pick my my appointments later in the evening if I can. So I had an appointment yesterday at 4:30. And I want to I'm gonna pull it up right quick because I have an app that I use, and let me see what she has stated in this app, honey. So yesterday's appointment really was a let me get to know you, Kim. Um, and so I put a lot of stuff when I signed up. I put a lot of stuff in that on the website, and then I also put a lot of stuff on the app itself. But she still, wanted to go over it with me to kind of see where I'm at, where my head was at, and also, what medications I was using and things of that nature, what supplements I was using, am I using protein powders, any teas, things of that nature. And she even asked, like, why am I using, say, like magnesium? What was that for? Is it, was it prescribed by my doctor, or, told or advised by my doctor to use it for a specific reason? Or am I just using it because, a lot of people say, hey, magnesium is good, things of that nature. But I'm going to look and see if I can find the information she gave me for homework after our appointment. So hold on right quick. I'm trying to figure out, I'm still trying to understand the app, trying to get, let me see, hold on. I'm trying to find her information. Let me go into something else. Just a moment, people. Might be easier to find it this way. All right, there it is. All right, so she said she gave me some notes about the things that she's what we talked about in that on that in that session, and she did very good detailed notes. Yes, she did. But she told me my plan before we meet again, which will be next week. She said track 2 typical days and one less typical day in the app that I use, which is my Net Diary. So she said, and during the weekday, I want you to track twice, 2 different days, and then on the weekend, I want you to track. So most of the time, weekends we kind of eat a little bit different than what we eat on the weekdays. A lot of us. So she wanted me to do that's what the less typical day would be sometime on the weekend, if I choose to do something different on the weekend. And then she says check fast and blood sugars or glucose levels with your new glucometer, because I did get a new glucometer. The one I was using before, my insurance company do not you know cover it anymore, so I had to switch glucometers. And so I had to get all that from my pharmacist and everything. So I got that. So she said do that at least twice a week. And that's because my A1C is, stabilized in the normal range right now. So I'm good with that. I won't have to, check every single day unless I decide to do that. All right. And that's exactly what my endocrinologist said as well. So we're keeping that, and then set up and start using my body composition scale, and then plan out my meals for the next day. Now that's something new for me. I don't normally plan my meals out. I just eat, that day is when I decide what I'm gonna eat that day, for the most part, unless I cook something that's gonna have leftovers and things of that nature. Then I know, of course, I'm gonna eat that the next day, or so. And then it says also consider a sleep study with your doctor. So she's saying that because she asked me, did I have sleep apnea? And I told her, I said, I've never gotten tested for sleep apnea before, but she was saying that it's very good to get tested because um, it can kind of help you determine whether there's a lot of, different issues when it comes to, what your health is. And also, if you do have sleep apnea, it's good to use, the preventative, the measures that they have, like for as a CPAP or things like that, because it definitely helps so that you won't, I guess, encounter more issues later on in life. Um, what else did she say? And then we're going to meet again next Wednesday. We're going to go over my food logs for that, during that week, and then, or that visit, and then start shaping the next steps from there, is what she's stating. So I told her, I said, my goals, is to have a sustainable, individualized plan for healthy eating. I want to lose weight. I want to get to my goal weight, which is 165. Currently, that's my goal. Or improve my body composition, because I want to lose the fat and build the muscle. Now, if I get there and I like the way my body looks and the way I feel, better, then I don't have to actually get to the 165 as far as scale and weight is concerned. And then also I want to maintain healthy lab results, and I want to improve my kidney health if possible. So a lot of the things that I fight, as far as the or combat, as far as the my comorbidities, I have type 2 diabetes. I have chronic kidney disease, which is CKD for short, the acronym. I also have, obesity and hormone imbalances. Okay. So I'm on what is it, BHRTs, which is bioidentical hormone replacement therapy to help me with that. With the hormone imbalances, which is good to have if you're a person that's having issues when it comes to your hormones. It's up to you whether you take them, but that's what I just chose to do when I talked to my doctor about me having the symptoms, a lot of symptoms that I face when it comes to hormones imbalances. So that also can help with weight loss. Getting those things regulated definitely helps with weight loss. It definitely can help with how your gut, you know, the improvement of your gut health. It can help because a lot of times when we have hormonal imbalances for women, we have issues where we grow, our stomachs, our gut start growing and protruding outward a little bit more than you would like. Even if you are a person that don't have to lose weight, a lot of people have talked about that on these platforms, and just in general, people in real life where they're having issues as they get older with hormone imbalances. So I take estradiol. I take it's a tablet. I also take progesterone. It's a pill, and then I also take testosterone, and that's a cream. Now I'm about to go to the jail. My insurance company, or CVS Caremark, they decided that they would pay for my testosterone, because at one point I was getting it. The first time I got it, it was with the cream, which is a cream. Um, I had to get it through a compound pharmacy that's local, but and I paid 50 something dollars for it. And so I talked to my endocrinologist last week, and he actually said, "Well, I can, we can get it for cheaper through your insurance company, and that way I can, not have to use compound. I can use, my regular pharmacy." So I decided to, start that journey. I'm going to finish this little bit of cream that I have left because you don't want to waste no money, right? So I'm going to finish that, and then I'll go to a gel, and that's been helping me a lot when it comes to those things have been helping me a lot when it comes to hormone imbalance. So I'm happy about that. Also, um what else? Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about when it comes to my journey and everything, and just trying to make sure that I am doing everything I can when it comes to being healthier in general, not just losing the weight, but being healthier in general. um Now, what she wants me to do, she wants me to, this is an estimated nutrition needs. Okay. Because I told her my motivation for this is I want to live a long, healthier life. I want to have a healthier quality of life. Excuse me. And then so she said my estimated nutrition needs is 1750 calories per day. 1750. That's 1750 calories. That's a lot of calories, y'all. For me. For me. Okay. Especially for a person that likes eating more whole foods. A lot of times the way how I up my calories is eating more fat, the healthier fats. Like I have to use avocado oil or olive oil and things like that to boost that those calories up. Because when you're eating like a lot of whole foods, sometimes it's hard to get that far up, especially being on a GLP-1 medication. And I'm sure those people are there on VS, they had the bariatric surgery and on the GLP-1. It could be, a little bit even more difficult, to try to get that many calories in a day. I'm not sure if y'all in the chat, if y'all are having issues, eating that much. Also, she wants me to eat the protein at between 70 and 109 because I do have chronic kidney disease. So I cannot eat like the higher amounts of protein like everybody else. So 70 to 109, and then carbs 200 to 239 grams of carbs. And then my fat, 58 grams of fat per day. And then saturated fats needs to be less than 20 grams per day. The sugars needs to be less than 47 grams a day. And my fiber needs to be more than 25 grams a day. Okay. So that, and my sodium at 200, 2,500 milligrams per day is kind of where she's at with that. So yeah, that's what she wants me to do, y'all. That's what she wants me to do. So beautiful says, yes, at first I only focus on protein, but when I get with the dietitian, when she got with the dietitian, she tracked all her meals 3 to 4 times a week. Okay. Yes. All right. So she's telling me three. And like I said, she said, you don't have to do it forever. Just, do it for now. So we at least know the baseline and things of that nature. Money says, I have Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, luckily, and pay $0. Okay. For Nourish. And Nourish now does labs for free and are adding mental health too. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm gonna know a little bit more about Faye Nutrition next week, and I'm gonna put that down. I'm gonna write that down because I want to ask her that. Matter of fact, on the app, I can even text her um information like we do. Say if you had a my chart, you can do that. Leave her a message, and then she can get back with me there as well. So let's see. What are you saying? Mental health. I know she asked me a little bit about the mental health aspect of it, and then you said free labs. That's awesome. That is awesome. So for those who may want a dietitian nutritionist, try to you can go in the Nourish app or the Faye Nutrition app, Nourish Nutrition app or the Faye Nutrition app, and put your information in as easy as putting that member ID number in or whatever number they use. They ask for this company that you are with, the insurance company, and then it'll run some information, run that information in their system, and let you know if you can get a dietitian nutritionist for $0. Hello, Shiny. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Thank you for coming in. I hope you're doing well tonight. I cannot wait to have my appointment. Yes, also says. Yes, yes. Um, I was definitely eager to have this appointment. Definitely. Like I said, I wish I could go to Nourish. But yeah, I think Faye Nutrition, from what she says, she's even said that Nourish is trying to recruit her to come over to their company. So not sure what's going to happen with that, but yeah. But she did say, I'm in good hands. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I, like I said, read up on Faye Nutrition, and they got a lot of great results, great feedback from people. So mine says, I'm trying to eat more. My dietitian wants me to eat 2,000 to 2,200 is what I think you're saying. On rest days, 1,900. My diet culture brain is struggling. Exactly. Exactly, Money. Exactly. But not only that, like I said, we're on a if we're on a GLP-1, it may be hard to do that anyway. It just may be hard to do it because again, we're talking the GLP-1s, um, bariatric surgery. It's harder to eat, the calories. Um, like if you're a person that are not on these medications, even on phentermine and things of that nature, weight loss, tools in general, that helps with society, it's harder to eat this stuff. So I understand it. Yep. But it's diet culture mentality as well. Yep. Shani says, I'm trying to get up to 1,500 to 1,600 daily. Every few months, I've been increasing by 100. I like that you said that, Shani, because when we're talking about, that's another thing for me. I'm like, okay, so if I'm used to eating, say, 13 to 1,500 a day, because of course we definitely need to make sure we're eating enough calories a day, right? Yes, because when it comes down to, and that's why the calorie counting is important, so that we can make sure that we are not under eating, right? Our proteins, our carbs, our calories, and our fats. We want to make sure we're not under eating, because too much under eating can cause, more harm than good when it comes to better health, right? It definitely can do that. Some people, I talked about it in the previous live, you can, lose minerals. You can have a lack of, macronutrients as well as micronutrients, right? So you definitely want to be careful in making sure that you're eating the right amount of these things. But can you get up to what the TDEE says? That's the question, tonight for me. Can I get to that? Can I get up to this 1762 or whatever, or even the 1750 that she's talking about, my, new dietitian, nutritionist? Can I get up to that? When I'm used to eating, say anywhere between maybe the high 1300s to 1500. I also talked a little bit about one live that, you know, when I ate the 1700s or what have you calories, I saw myself either being set at that weight. I was not losing at all. Also, or I may have gained some, okay, at that amount. And so when I was at the 13, say 90 something or whatever to like 15 something, I was able to lose, weight. So is TDE good for me? That's what I'm still trying to figure out. Still trying to figure it out. What's best? So, okay, Twan uses faith. Okay, gotcha. Thank you for that, Miss Money. Okay, so yeah, awesome, awesome. Shani says yesterday got in 1400. Today so far 1050, but no dinner yet. Having a tuna sandwich for dinner, so I'll make it. Awesome, awesome. Yes, 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 yes. I love that, Shani. Okay, so even 1400 is still good for you if that's in your range. And I also heard people talk about not just having that one number. So TDE gives you that one number, wherein I hear people talk about ranges, right? Not just having one number. Sometimes it's good to have a range of a number, right? Because there are times, like I said, with GLP-1 at the beginning of your week, after you take your dose, it may be hard to get in that number, right? So some people are using, okay, well, when it comes to the end of the week, it's a little easier to, get your calories in. So I forgot what the name of that, because there's a name for it, but I forgot. I read up on it, but I forgot the name of it. But you can kind of almost save those calories for the later on in the week. So even if your calorie goal is 1500, just say, and for some reason you're getting only 1200, you can only get 1200 at the beginning, the first couple of days of the, your after your injection. If you're on a GLP-1, then maybe your fourth, fifth, sixth day, seventh day, you can eat more, and then it makes up for those calories that you could not eat on that first, second, third day. So that is a thing, y'all, for those who may not know. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Um oh, that's what irritating. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So calorie cycling or calorie shifting is what you can refer that to. Eating fewer calories on some days and then you make them up later, on throughout the week or something like that. That's called. Also, you can call it, like some people do it. I know, like when it came to Weight Watchers, a lot of people have been on Weight Watchers, especially the ones back in the day before they got into I'll have all these zero carbs and things like that. Which is kind of, I guess, what they do a little bit more now. But like back in the 90s to early 2000s, you had a amount, like a number that you had to meet or that you can meet every day. And then on the weekend you could and then you had extra points is what I'm trying to say. So you have a certain amount of points depending on certain criteria for you for the week, right? Just every single day. And then you had extra points that you could use as bonus points, and you can use that either every single day, divide them out every day, or you can divide them, just say, okay, I'm gonna have these, say, 20 more points for the weekend, or what have you. And that kind of helped, people out a lot when it came to like eating. Like, so that's what I did. I would like eat my regular, say 26 points every day during the week. And then a Saturday and Sunday, I would use those, extra points on top of the 26 that, I was eating, the points that I was eating, on that day. So that way I can go out to eat and still, be able to live sustainably, when it comes to food. And I don't have to like stray away from the foods that I was eating, out. So, yeah. So that's kind of how this calorie cycling and the calorie shifting, or they also call, when this specific pattern happens on the weekend, it is often called a weekend refeed. Okay. So on GLP-1 medications, this often happens naturally as the medication's appetite suppression fluctuates throughout the dosing, which is what I was just talking about. So yes, and then it says calorie cycling on GLP-1s. Experts and individuals suggest this approach to navigate changing hunger cues and energy needs while taking medications. Yeah, so that's that. And then it says, let me see, strategic strength training, protein targets that actually work on low appetite carb cycling to keep your metabolism firing. So that's kind of what Monty was saying. On the days that she is, strength training, then she, have to eat a little bit more. That's what her dietitian has, recommended her to do. So she said I had gone down to 12.5 so I could eat more. I have 74 pounds of muscle and 134 pounds of lean mass. I have been under fueling a while. It makes recomposition hard. Okay, so that's a note for me, right? So that might be something I need to talk to this dietitian about. So if I do have issues eating at the beginning of the week, this 1750, maybe the days that I am strength training, I can try to make sure I'm doing it then, or eating a little bit more. Then the 1750, that way the days that I am not strength training, I can eat a little bit less and then do that calorie cycling that I'm talking about. So thank you for that, Miss Miney, especially when I'm progressive overloading. Hello, Miss V. How you doing, sweetheart? She said, I use Nourish and I had to pay because with my insurance, I had to meet a deductible. Yep. Yep, I'm on a deductible too. I wish I could go back to the HMOs of them all, where you can do co-pays. But yeah, we switched to the deductibles a while back, and they were like, it'll be cheaper. Yeah, for those who don't have comorbidities, they don't go to the doctor all the time. It's cheaper, but it's not cheaper for me, not a person like me or my family. Me and my husband, I should say. So Shani says, my doctor told me to not increase at once. He said my body won't tolerate it. That I would gain weight bumping up too fast, and that's what I'm talking about, Shani. I'm thinking like, how am I gonna go from 1,500 calories to like 1,750? And that's what I did when I was hearing all this stuff, saying, oh, you should eat more because of body recomp, and then when I switched to that progressive overload, I'm just like, okay, I got to get to 1,750. And I switched that app so quick to 1,750, and me trying to get to that 1,750, honey, I was gaining some weight. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't like this. That ain't gonna work. I'm trying to lose weight, not gain weight, not for no, I don't care what body recomp, I don't care what it is. I don't want to gain this weight, honey. So that was not doing what I wanted to do. So yeah, I feel you on that. So I heard people say, do it gradually. So that's what I'm gonna talk to her about next week. Gradual movement up to that. And not try to do it so fast, because we didn't talk about, again, what I was doing right now. At that time, she just gave me suggested recommendations, what she wants me to get. And maybe that's just what she wants me to get to. Maybe I'm just looking, I'm seeing this stuff and I'm like, maybe I need to take a chill pill. Because I'm like, what? And then my carb count, y'all, I'm like 200 to 239. Who finna do that? Not me. That's not gonna work for me. So I'm a little, I'm being defiant. Oh God, I want to be defiant, But it's a concern. It's raising concerns for me because I'm used to eating about 100 to maybe 120 total carbs a day right now. And then, when I do track it or what have you, and I'm like, to say to go to 200 to 239, that don't sound like a win, right? That just don't sound like I'm going to just go straight up to that. No, I'm not. That's not happening. So yeah, again, sustainable things. I need sustainable things to happen, y'all. Hello, Miss Cookie. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Greatly appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. So Miss Shani says, "Hey, yeah, Money, I understand. I'm only on 5 milligram and still struggling. Yes, honey. I mean, it's hard to get to this number. And I know, Shani, I know you eat, pretty healthy. From what you talk about, I hear you saying, on your channel and everything that you're eating healthy. So, like I said, a lot of times when you're trying to eat whole foods, and that's what I mean when I say healthy, she eat more whole foods, y'all. When she trying to eat the whole foods, it's kind of hard to get up them numbers, unless you're putting, you putting your fat in there and things of that nature. A lot of times I have to, my fat is, increased. It's not at no 58, it may be at 78, but it's harder to get, to those high numbers for me, when it comes down to the foods that I'm eating. So I have to eat mayonnaise, which I love. I ain't mad at it. Nah, I like my mayonnaise. The mayonnaise, the ranch dressings, even those I will put in my, in my regimen just to get up there, and then I want some taste in my food. I don't want to just be eating no bland, dry foods. No, that's not sustainable for me. Not for me. All right. And then, like I said, avocado oil. I like using the avocado oil, olive oils, and things of that nature. Avocado spray, like that, when it comes to my oils or what have you. But there are times when I eat canola oil, because canola oil is supposed to be a heart healthy oil, and y'all know I'm trying to make sure my cholesterol lowers as well. So sometimes, you may have to do do that kind of oil versus, the oils that they say is supposed to be so healthy for you. Money says, Shani, you will get there. You will get there, sweetheart. Thank you for that, Shani. I mean, Money. I'm sorry, Money. Cookies is saying, hey to everyone. Money says, I have been studying by the recomp a lot. I find you got to front load calories. But my lifts are getting better as I eat more. Gotcha, Money. Gotcha, Money. I understand. I get you. Look, my lift is better when I eat carbs, right? So that may be those days I may have to do the carb cycling. There's a such thing as carb cycling too, where you eat more carbs when it comes down to lifting heavier, or just lifting in general, So yeah, I got you on that, Monty. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, honey. Cookie says, Monty, I haven't seen you in a hot minute. Hope you are doing well, honey. All right, Ms. V says it is called, thank you, carb cycling. Yes. So you got the carb cycling. What else I said, y'all? Oh, Lord. Let me see. The calorie cycling I talked about a little earlier. So yeah, cycling may be something I have to do. Thank you, Ms. V, on that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, hello, Kyle. How you doing? Thanks for coming in. I hope you're doing well, Kyle. Hope you're doing well. Hello, Miss Anissa. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Miss Monty says, yes, Clicky work was whipping my tail, honey, trying to get extra money to pay my copay for round 2 in the fall. Yes, yes. Okay, Monty. Yes. She's trying to get that body right and tight. Yes. More than what it is, because it's already looking good. It's already looking good, Monty. Kyle says, how's your day going today, my friend? It's going well. It's going well. Thank you for asking. I hope yours is going well too. Miss Cookie says, I'm glad everything is okay with you. Yes. Miss V says, yes, I remember my WW days. That's Weight Watchers, y'all. They now call it WW. And saving those weeklies for the weekend. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And then I was talking to Felicia Marie B about, how Weight Watchers, they were saying, they have those, now they have that 0 calorie. I'm assuming they're still doing it. I'm not even following Weight Watchers at all anymore, but they have that 0 calorie menu or whatever, or list. And it's like, okay, you have that list, but it's not like you can eat, they say, oh, you can eat, you can go, you can eat a lot of these foods, as much as you want. But to be honest, can you really eat as much as you want? Especially if you have food noise, or you have, you have a situation where you overeat or what have you. Don't get full, like you should. Yeah, those it can. I know I got to be adding up. I know I got to be adding up. At some point, at some point, it's not just zero anymore. Is what I'm saying. So Ms. V says yes. Minus says, Kim, you can hit me up about body recall. Okay, I was just talking to Miko about that. I said I need to talk to Money. I need to talk to Money. That's not how progressive overload works. Okay, you gradually increase. Gotcha. But also, if you been in a deficit for a while, you have to get up eventually to that high one. Yes, I got you. Yes, 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 yes. I do believe that. I do believe that. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm like, I cannot go up that fast. And maybe that's not what she's, suggesting. Maybe she is going to say, hey, now that I know, once I show her next week how I ate, this week, those 3 days, maybe she's going to say, okay, this is where you're at, so we're going to gradually go up every, 100 calories per week or whatever. I'm not sure what she's going to do. Like I said, when I saw that in those notes, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. What? I'm not going to eat that many carbs at all, because then I started thinking about my diabetes and I'm like, okay, I'm doing good with my A1C. I don't need it to be going up because I'm eating carbs, all these carbs or what have you. So, I mean, she's the dietitian nutrition. She definitely, has the credentials, but, it kind of scares me a little bit, y'all. Truth be told, it kind of scares me a little bit. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't need my sugar to be going up, or what have you. And I don't need my calorie count to be going up too. And then it's hurting my weight loss, or what have you, as well as my, my blood markers. That's what I don't need. Not going from where I'm already at to just jump right up to these other high numbers. So yeah. So she said, and then cut when you are used to the higher end. Gotcha. Yep. I gotcha. And I hear people talk about that too. Yeah, I know Tamika talks about that as well. Miss Shani says, my carbs are determined by my needs for the day. I work out hard and do lots of cardio. Leg day, and I have to for leg day, she has to get more carbs or I'm lightheaded. Yep. Now, like I said, I did experience that once I ate more carbs the day that I do exercise in the gym, especially, then, it gives me that more energy for it. So, yes, I do agree with that, Shiny. Thank you for that. Mine says, is 0 point foods. Yes, 0 point foods. I'm saying list, whatever. It's been so long. Thank you. 0 point foods, basically whole foods. Yes. Yep. But I think, did they have on there like it's like sandwich meat and stuff like that? At one point, the 0 point food list. So I know like I remember a lot of proteins was on there. But like I said, it's a lot of when especially with like sandwich meat, you're talking nitrates and nitrites. That that's a lot of sodium and things like that. It's a lot of different ingredients in it that may not be good for us, and it still can help kind of mess up your weight loss, or what have you. So I still, like I said, at that point, when you're on WW, you got to still be careful with even the 0 point foods list. Hello, low carb queen. How you doing, Auntie Queen? Thanks for coming in, sweetheart. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. She said hello to everybody in the chat. Shani says, Kim J, I want to say you are looking amazing. Thank you so much, sweetheart. I can tell you're eating better. I can look at you and see you don't look inflamed like before. Yes. And let me see. Oh God, my eyes do look a little puffy today. Look, I didn't sleep as good last night. But I was sleeping like throughout the day. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get up. Like, why can't I get up? I don't know. But yeah, I'm trying to get better sleeping, y'all. But sometimes I don't know. I'm like, is this insomnia? What is going on? I don't understand. When I lay down, normally I can go straight to sleep. Now this is something totally different. Got nothing to do with this nutrition stuff. But I guess it does because she talked about the sleep. She's like, okay, how you sleeping? So that is important too about this better health journey and this sleep. So it does all of it go together. So yeah, I'm like, I gotta figure out a better sleeping pattern. I've been talking about it, but I still have not found that out yet either. I'm still trying to figure that out as well. Because I know that can hurt your weight loss. It can hurt, it can build up a lot of cortisol in your body. I know we talk about food a lot tonight, but the sleep is could be an issue as well. And I know a lot of us are not sleeping. Now, some people be bothering me about my sleep. I'm like, truth be told, you ain't sleeping either. You're not sleeping either. You're not getting it either. Oh my God. I know a lot of people definitely laugh about when I go to sleep. Wee hours in the morning. Yeah. But sometimes, but when I do get to sleep, a lot of times I do get, 6 hours of sleep, sometimes 7 hours of sleep, sometimes five, but I will get some quality sleep. I feel like when I do get up, I feel good. I feel, more alert. I feel energetic and things of that nature. When I do get up most nights, most days, excuse me, most days. So mine says, but I need to learn how to do 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I need to learn how to get there. Money says, and cut a lot of the cardio out, add more strength training. You will be shocked. Now, let me ask you this, Money, because I was thinking about that too. Honey, my brain has been going. You hear me? So, my endocrinologist, I talked to him last week and I told him about me wanting to lose more weight. I'm still in the 190s, y'all. Still in the 190s. Now, I did lose a little bit, right? I went down from the mid to upper 190s to the lower to mid 190s. Okay. So I did go down a little bit. So I'm happy about that. Yay. Kim J. Yay, yay, yay. All right. Thanking God for the little things. But he told me to do more cardio. Now, I know a lot of people in our community frown upon this cardio thing, right? And I know walking is cardio. But when it comes to wanting to lose weight, you're still in this weight loss game and you got a good little bit to lose still. I always say cardio and weight lifting is very important, both of them. And he told me last week, last Thursday, he was like, do more cardio. Still do your weight training, but do more cardio. Cardio burns fat. Cardio helps with calories. Cardio do a lot of stuff, right? And the walking, unfortunately, it's kind of hurting my knees more now for some reason, and it's making me inflamed. So I'm trying to find other things besides this 10,000 steps that I'm doing for my cardio. So I have started now doing a little bit of elliptical that is not as hard on your knees. And I've started doing a little bit more of intentionally doing it during the week. I'm still doing my, the steps, but I kind of cut back on them because my knees started bothering me more. Okay. Y'all know I had a prior injury. I've told it anyway. I had a prior injury with my knee, tore my patella tendon. And so I can sometimes get inflamed on both knees, really. And it got to the point where not only was it acute inflammation, but it's like chronic inflammation where sometimes I can walk from the bed to the kitchen and my knees start swelling up. So I'm having to change some things, or what have you, because the inflammation is not helping me lose weight either. Again, my biggest goal is better health in general, not just weight loss, but in general, better health. I want my blood markers to look where I want them to be I want to get them as close to the maximum of that normal range as possible. So right there, dead smack in the middle, if I can, I want to do everything I can to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do for my health. But also I know it's important to lose more weight so that I can, it helps with being more healthy as well. So that's why I'm talking about it tonight. What was I was going to do something? Oh, cardio. But yeah, that's what he told me last week. But of course, cardio or aerobic exercises, it gets your heart pumping. So heart health, which is very important when you have, type 2 diabetes, CKD, high blood pressure. Okay. But definitely high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. Getting your heart pumping and increasing oxygen delivery to your muscles. Very important. It is vital, or it is a vital component of any fitness routine, offering a powerful mix of physical and mental perks, from warding off chronic diseases and burning calories to boost your mood and sharpen your memory. Okay. Heart and lung health is the benefit for it. Weight management is a benefit. Disease prevention, better sleep, so more quality sleep. Maybe that's why my quality sleep is a little bit better now. I'm not sure. It also helps with mental and cognitive advantages. It provides mental and cognitive advantages, stress and mood boost, as well as brain function. So yes, getting cardio fixed doesn't require hours on the treadmill, though. You don't have to spend hours on the treadmill, but even 5 to 10 minutes, bursts of the walking, the cycling, the swimming, you know, like the elliptical things like that. Even that stairmaster, stair climb or whatever y'all call it these days. Even that, definitely can help significantly boost your long term health and stamina. Okay, so that's a little bit I want to say about that. So I'm with you though with the strength training. I think strength training is definitely important for muscle building. Make sure we retaining our muscles that we already have. It's what, especially with us being on a weight loss journey. So I'm with you on that. But I think cardio, to me, I've always said, I think cardio is still as important, just as important to me as it is the strength training. Okay. Shani says no to the packaged foods. Right. Say no to the packaged foods. Right. So I feel the same way, Shani. Yes, I do. While I do eat some packaged foods, I try to make sure I limit my ultra processed foods. Okay. Because packaged foods are processed, most of them. So they're either processed or they're ultra processed, which means there's a whole lot of processing of that food. So now it's nowhere near, you know, close to the whole food, right, as it once was. So you have to be careful with that. Definitely, Shani, thank you for that. Mine says WW is now focused on GLP-1s. Yes, they are. I had someone I used to follow, she followed me, that was actually on WW plan. Thank you for that, Miney. Just in case for those who, looking for some like a place to go through, especially if you're on a weight loss. I mean, you like the WW plan. Thank you for that, Money. Cookie says low carb queen. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, Cookie. Shiny says, yeah, Money. I just my cardio. So let me see, my cardio down, but it's still more than the average person. I'm addicted. And sometimes it's like that. Some people like, girl, I remember even the Patricia Denise, she's like, I just love running. A lot of people tell you shouldn't run. After you get 40, it's no reason to run. You can just be in zone two. Walking, that's maybe more beneficial for you than running. Partly because it can be hard on your knees, and as you get older, sometimes you have to protect those knees a little bit more. You don't want to hurt yourself anymore. Then you don't want to hurt yourself, period, to be honest. But yeah, but some people, they just love it. They just love it. They can't get enough of it. So that's why some people do it. Yes, but mine is for heart health. Especially with the high cholesterol, you definitely need the heart health. You need the heart healthy, regimen, and part of it is the exercise. Shani says meant to say decrease. I got you. Okay, so she decreased it, the cardio a little bit, but she still loves to do her cardio. Yep. All right. Thank you for that, Shiny. Mine says sleep is when muscle is built. How about that, Kim J? How about that? GLP-1 people that trying to build muscle, or heart healthy people, or let me see, Sweet Life Squad. How about that? How about that? Uh, Sleep is helping. That helps build muscle as well. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Miss Miney. Let me see. All right, let's see. Sleep is arguably the most powerful yet overlooked tool of building muscle. How about that? While lifting weights breaks muscle down, sleep is when the actual growth happens. During deep sleep, the body repairs micro tears, because when you're doing your lifting, your tissues are tearing. You're tearing your tissues down, okay? But then it rebuilds itself, okay, to build itself better, to be stronger, right? So the body repairs micro tears, releases muscle building hormones, and replenishes energy sources. How about that, y'all? So hormonal optimization. Sleep triggers the release of key anabolic hormones needed for tissue repair. Okay, growth hormones, testosterone, cortisol suppression, and then recovery and energy, protein synthesis, uh, glycogen replenishment, injury prevention. Also, it boosts cognitive function, regulates metabolism, and of course, it, like I said, muscle building, like Monty said, increases metabolism, better bone density, improved functional health. So, all of these things is why sleep is so important for us, not just for me, for us, Sweet Life Squad. Um, a rested mind is more disciplined and can better push through challenging workouts. You won't be just showing up, but you will have the desire to work hard and walk anyway, making yourself proud. Okay, so that's that on that subject. Thank you, Imani, for that. All right, Miss Shiny says, my cardio and strength training a lot has worked for me. Retained a lot of my muscle and lost fat. Awesome, awesome, Shiny. Yes, yes, yes. The elliptical is my best friend. That's what Shiny says. All right, so Shiny says, just saw ortho last week, her orthopedic doctor. Elliptical is best for the knee issues. Yes, 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 yes. So when I had my surgery, my patella tendon surgery repair, then I did the elliptical as well. Um, they helped me. They told me to do that. I didn't do the bicycle. I did the elliptical. Yes, and that was good for me. I also did this. It had like they had like in the office a three stepper, and I would go on that too and kind of step up and down on that as well. So yes, so those are the things that I'm doing in the gym now, to get some cardio in. Yep. Thank you for that, Miss Shiny. Hello, Terry. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. So Money says, don't do it. Strength training burns more fat. The more muscle you have, also your metabolism is fired up. Doctors really have no idea. Also, more muscle lowers blood sugars. Okay. So, question, Money. Does lifting help with heart health? Does it help with heart health? Let's see. Does lifting weights help with heart health? Maybe this one became a curious account, honey. So lifting weights improves heart health by lowering resting blood pressure, reducing arterial stiffness, and regulating cholesterol and blood sugar levels. So So listen, we're talking lifting weights, do the same thing, y'all. Well, I won't say the same thing, but it definitely helps as well. It definitely helps with heart health as well. Building muscle mass also increases your resting metabolism and helps reduce visceral fats, which is what I want to do. Which, especially me being an apple-shaped body, honey, I need that visceral fat gone. Just 60 to 100 minutes of strength training per week has been shown to reduce cardiovascular disease risk significantly. How about that, y'all? How about that? So that's probably why it's so controversial. So let's see. Hold on. Lifting weights versus cardio. Which All right. So cardio is tradition. So I put lifting weights versus cardio, which provides the best heart health benefits. So it says cardio is traditionally superior for directly strengthening the heart muscle, okay, lowering resting heart rates and improving circulation. However, weightlifting is uniquely effective at reducing dangerous fats around the heart and preventing metabolic syndrome. The American Heart Association recommends combining both, okay, for the best cardiovascular outcomes. And that's what I always stated. I think cardio and strength training is important, which is what my doctor said. He said do both. But all I was doing is walking initially. Initially, just walking. Okay. And like I said, that walking is bothering my knees. So I got to figure something out. So again, I decided to start doing not, I do still walk, but I don't have to meet the 10,000 like I was doing before. I'm kind of giving it a little break to kind of give my knees a break. And so with that being said, I still want to incorporate cardio in it. And of course, I will do some stepping, step aerobics. I will do that. But I also decided to do something in the gym. When it comes to the gym, I go ahead on and do some elliptical to get that heart pumping. Like I said, I want to help with my cholesterol and stuff like that, to get that, to lower that, because I need to lower it with me having type 2 diabetes, and I have more than one comorbidity. I need to make sure that I am getting, my cholesterol is down, my cholesterol level is down to under 70, versus like a person that doesn't have type 2 diabetes. They may be good at 100, under 100, I'm sorry, like 99 or less. But for those who have type 2 diabetes and also have another um, illness as well, then yes, doctors should be telling you that you want those levels under 70 milligrams per deciliter, the cholesterol, the LDL. Okay. So yes, for me, like I said, it's most important to do both of them, not one versus the other, but both of them. And of course, like I'm not a doctor. You see down here below, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not none of this stuff, baby. All I'm doing is trying to live my sweet healthy life. Okay, that's all I'm doing. Trying to live my sweet healthy life and find the best thing for me. Right, best thing for me. But I do appreciate you all, sharing this stuff with me. Like I said, it helps me get to thinking. It helps me to, let me write some stuff down, kind of talk to my nutritionist about it and things of that nature. So yes, I do appreciate each and every one of you for, helping me, work through this and think through this tonight. I greatly appreciate you all so much. All right, Shani says, and if you are going to walk, don't do treadmills. It pulls on the knees. Now I got my treadmill right over here. So when I had my patella tendon repair, that's one thing they did not have me on. They did not have me on a treadmill, right? But what I can do, like when I don't have issues with my knees, I can walk on a treadmill, and I be very careful what I do on it. I definitely make sure I listen at my knees, and see what they're saying, even though they don't have no mouth to say nothing. But they'll tell me, if it's an issue. I like doing the treadmill. I like walking outside better. But I feel like I get more calories burnt when I go outside for some reason and walk. I guess because it's uneven, it's naturally, the earth kind of, it's kind of not so straight. Maybe that's it. So I'm getting some, incline, and some decline and things of that nature at times, depending on where I'm walking at. But yeah, I know that, yeah, my orthopedic doctor, they didn't put me on a treadmill for my, recovery, for my, what is called, uh, I can't think of the name of it, Lord. The therapy, physical therapy. Yeah. Money says, I am certified too. How about that? I'm certified, boo. But trust me, baby, when I tell you, trust me when I tell you, I know, ball, in a month, I put on 3 pounds of muscle, honey. My body fat is at 20%. Also, make sure you have proper shoes for walking and your knees. You're right about it. I'm thinking about getting more shoes, cause tennis shoes. I had my tennis shoes for a little while, so it's definitely time, probably time for me. I mean, I look at the sole. You can look at the sole to see kind of how they look, if they're too worn and things of that nature. So hey, I definitely need to get more. But I may be looking for at least one more pair that I walk in. Yeah, I'm thinking about that as well, to kind of just upgrade on those. But yes, thank you for that, Miss Money. And you know what? I listen when I hear you. I hear you. I promise you, I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying, right? And I love that you give me this information. You don't have to, but you do. And so I do. You know, I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Definitely so. Every time. Shiny says, I still eat some myself, but not much. Okay. hmm And she says, Miney, that's great. Right. You see, Miney? You know how I feel. Hey, boo, how you doing? Hello, sweetheart. How are you? Girl, I get my little. I don't look. I can't even stop smiling. How you doing, boo? She said, "I'm back for a spell. Glad I caught LQ and your lives. Me too, LL Lewis. Thank you for coming in, sweetheart. I was thinking about you heavily. I was. I knew you were. You had things going on, but yeah, I have been thinking about you. Yep. Mine says, so true, Shiny. 3 knee surgeries and treadmills kill me, honey. Okay. So yeah, I got you. Yep. Oh, I don't want no more knee surgeries. I hope I don't have to have no more. Shani says, I do cardio for my mental health. Yes. And I love it. Yes. I know even walking outside, that's another thing. Just walking outside in nature is something about the walking outside. That's why I love it so much. First of all, you get that vitamin D. The vitamin D is what you need, y'all. Okay. Most of us lack vitamin D. A lot of us, I should say. I ain't gonna say most. A lot of us lack vitamin D, and so we need that vitamin D. And the best vitamin D is from the sun, getting it from the sun. So especially during those times, I know a lot of times when, especially depending on where you live at, sunny Florida, the sun be sunning. Okay, oh my gosh. So you definitely got to be careful and put the preventions on that you need, like the sunscreen and things like that, sun, whatever. Yeah, sunscreen. But yeah, getting sun. And a lot of times getting sun in the beginning of the day. I know a lot of times Shani goes out in the morning and walk, well, she was at one point walking in the morning, what have you, running in the morning. Yeah, it's good to get that vitamin D in, kind of first thing in the morning. You don't need but a little bit. You don't need but a little bit, you know, and that can set you for the day. And if you're doing vitamins and you're, getting your vitamin D from vitamins to help you, make sure you're meeting your goals. It's also good to make sure you're getting your K2 as well. So vitamin D and K2 is great paired together. Shadi says, I want to be strong and also able to jog if needed. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Grant says, I'm back. Hello. All I missed. Hello, Grant. Thanks for coming back, sweetheart. Hello, meet Virginia. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Miss Shani says, I know many of these people at my gym can lift and look strong, but they can't jog. I was going to say that, Shani. I'm happy you mentioned that. I was talking to FMB, Fifi the B, Phoebe. Look, we got so many names for her, honey. That one that pollinates love around the world. Yep, that one. Felicia Marie B. I was talking to her about that, and she talked about that a little bit. She was like, you got a lot of people that weight lift, that can lift weight really good, but they don't have the heart when they get on a machine to, walk, really fast, or, you know, do like say elliptical or things like that, those cardio machines, baby, that heart be pumping like crazy. You can't get but a couple minutes out of it. And your heart just having a fit, and I thought about it because I was like, like I said, I wasn't doing a lot of cardio. I was just doing the walking, trying to get that zone 2 in and things of that nature. But when I started getting on those cardio machines at the job, at the job, at in the gym, honey, I'm like, at 1 minute on that stepper. I'm like, oh my God, she is right. I can't get, like, my heart ain't pumping like I needed to pump, honey. When I started doing it a little bit more often, I was able to do a little bit more before I got tired, before my, the heart started pumping so hard. I was stressing my heart out with that. So I'm with you on that, Shiny, honey. Okay. Shiny said, I have a male friend who worked out daily and looked great and had a stroke. Now I've heard that too. Even on the news, I've heard people talk about that, where you can be so healthy or think you're so healthy, think you're so healthy, and you may look it, but you may not be it. So that's why it's important to get your strength training and your cardio in. That's just how I feel. Like I said, found out his arteries were clogged. They were clogged, y'all. Of course, couldn't have been other. It could have been other variables involved, but just saying he didn't do any cardio. That's a good thing to think about. And again, these are personal experiences that we're sharing, or people that we may know for sure. Again, Miney, she says she's certified, as well as, Shani, of course, she's a RN, been doing this for a long, long time. So yes, thank y'all for your expertise in this information. But again, they're not your doctors. They're not your uh, nurses or anything like that. So we still have to take in. You can listen to the information, but you have to do what's best for you. And of course, listen. This information is good though to be able to write down and talk to your doctors about it. Talk to your dietitian. Talk to your physical therapist or whoever whoever you have on your healthcare team. Okay. Ms. Virginia says, don't forget to hit that like button for Kim J chat. Thank you so much, Miss Virginia. Some people be scared to hit that like button. I don't know why. I don't know what's that about. Maybe need to have a lie about that. Why are you scared to hit that like button, honey? I don't know. Thank you for that, sweetheart. All right, so Ms. Monty says, I do cardio three days a week, honey. So she is doing cardio, y'all. You hear? She's doing cardio too. She ain't saying not to do it. She not saying don't do it at all, okay? But doing, once I stopped being a cardio bunny, okay, the weight dropped, fat went down greatly, and muscle went up, okay? Fat went down greatly and muscle went up. I like that, money. Okay. So then I can do my cardio, y'all. Miss Shani, you see, you can do your cardio. It's okay. It's okay, girl. Right? But again, that still what I say, cardio and strength training is, which is like I said, what my endocrinologist had told me to do. He just was saying up that cardio a little bit. Up the cardio, sweetheart. But don't forget that strength training. He made sure he say that. Still do your strength training. All right. So Shani says, I'm a lose y'all for a bit at the. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, at the gym and in a bad area. Okay, gotcha, Shani. Uh, so Grant is just saying hey to people. Y'all say hey to Grant. Y'all say hey to G Money. Y'all say hey to G Money. Shani says, he's mine in 3 days is great. Okay, she said she's just telling mine in 3 days is great. Yes. All right, Miss Shani says Kim J. She's not saying don't. Right. She's not saying don't. And I wasn't never saying that she was saying not to at all. But I got you. She's saying she does cardio too. Gotcha. All right. I'll be a little bit too. I'll be still kind of up in the chat. Y'all forgive me. I'm just going as I'm talking as I go. I like good. I like a good Metcom. Gotcha. Shani says, sorry, I was saying, right, that's great money. I got you. Shani says, I think the big issue with many is that we think we have to choose one or the other. Yes. I've heard people in our community like, strength train. Like, you shouldn't do no cardio or you should only walk. So that's why I'm talking it out too, again, because and not nobody, picking on nobody specific in here saying they saying do this and not do this or whatever. I'm just talking it out, like I said, just in general. But I have heard people say it, not in this chat right here today, but I've heard people, they just only about strength training only. You don't need to do no cardio, do strength training. I think they're both important. Still today, still feel that way. Money says, yep, I am at Burn Boot Camp 3 days a week. I walk most days. My cardio is full body strength and condition. I hope you didn't think I meant to say that you're not saying cardio. I hope, if not, if you feel that I was saying that, forgive me. I wasn't saying that you saying not to do it, period. Body weight conditioning and Metcom. But if your goal is body recomp, cardio has to be less. Gotcha, buddy. I gotcha. And like I said, Monty, I be listening. I hear you. I really do hear you. And I do take note of what you say. I do. Grant says, I need to do more cardio. It's true, but the trainer tries to work some of that in too. Yes. So I think everybody in this chat now definitely thinks that it both is important, right? Both is important. And mine is saying, if you're trying to rebuild, recomp, lose that fat, build more muscle, hit the strength training a little harder, a little more than you are with the cardio. But it's okay to do the cardio, y'all. It's okay to do the cardio, at times throughout the week. All right. So she said, I just share because I learned so much the hard way. Right. Again, like I said earlier, the way you talking when you come in these chats, honey, the way you be talking, I'm like, ears are wide open. You hear me? Ears are wide open. Yes. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And I thank all of you, everybody in here tonight that's giving these good tips to me. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, I'm writing this stuff down, some of this stuff down to talk it out with my nutritionist, what have you, because that's who I'm gonna see next is the nutritionist, dietitian nutritionist. All right, Shani says, I understand what mine is saying. Yes, I still do lots of cardio, but I did increase the strength training to offset it. Yes, it's worked. Since I increased the strength training, I shed inches in this size 8. How about that? How about that? The size 8. I know that's right, ma'am. I know that's right. She said, "Thank you, Monty. We appreciate you." Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Shani says, "Monty, that 20% is awesome." Again, goes Monty. Yes. Ms. V says, "I just love the sound of nature when I walk outside." Yes, exactly. Or then the birds chirping. The squirrels. Scurrying around. Going in the trees. Just don't go. Y'all, when I was out there on when I was out there 4th of July by myself, out at the park, the local park that I was in, taking my little pictures, trying to be, grown, having a good time by myself. Yeah, it was a squirrel. So I was walking up, and normally squirrels, they run from you or whatever, or just doing their own thing, think about you. Honey, it's this one squirrel. Now the other squirrels that was running, they ran on up the tree, did doing their thing. This one squirrel, honey, when I say he just stared at me, it was like up, like he was gonna come and attack me. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Why is the squirrel looking at me like that? I said, you know what? Let me just go on over here. I'm not gonna go past him because he may think I'm trying to come at him, and I don't need no issues, and I don't need to have to hit the squirrel with this thing that I have in my hand, this tripod. I don't want to have to hit him. So let me go on over, because then I'm gonna act real crazy. Let me go on over here on this side and move, just go round, okay? Because I don't know what his problem was. I'm like, do you not see I'm bigger than you? What is your problem? And then I'm gonna be screaming and hollering like a crazy lady. I'm like, woman down, woman down. Look, no, I don't want, and I don't want to hurt no, I don't want to hurt him. I don't want him to touch me. That's gonna gross me out. Yeah, let me just stay away from the squirrel and move on somewhere else because I don't know what's wrong with him. He ate his Cheerios, his nuts today. Yeah, he had. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Miss V said, oh, she said that. So yeah. Yeah. But I love nature as well. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hello, Barbara. How you doing, sweetheart? This is Unglamorous Girl, y'all. Yes, yes. For those who don't know her by Barbara. I love walking outside. Yes, ma'am. Your walks and talks. Be good. Hello, everyone in the chat. How you doing, sweetheart? How are you doing? Every morning, baby. I love it. Shawnee say walking, that is. Or, like I said, she'll try to run. She'll do her little run, her little jogging, rather. Yes. Ms. Grant says, I love walking outside too. Yes, he does his walking every Wednesday. Miss Shawnee is doing her walking every day, y'all. She was doing a little 30-minute challenge with some people in the GLP-1 community, our community. But yeah, she's still doing her little thing out there. When I think her sciatic nerve was hurt, bothering her or whatever. If I'm right, I hope I'm right. Shiny saying that it was the sciatic. But anyway, she was having issues with her back and everything. And so she started walking versus the jogging that she was doing before. And she's enjoying herself now. At first it was like, oh, I don't want to walk, I want to jog, what have you. But yeah, she's enjoying her walking now. And they're showing it on both of their channels. Yes. Grant saying, hi, Glow. She's saying, hey to Grant. Monty says, yes, I am 165 and wear a 2-4, honey. 2 or 4. Yes. Thank you, muscle. I know that's right. Also, my glutes grew. How about that? How about this to the glutes? How about high five on the screen to the glutes growing, honey? My glutes don't need to grow. My glutes don't need to grow. Why is it so hard to say? My glutes don't need to grow, but it can lift a little bit. So I need to do some more, just keep doing my squats, some other things that I can do to make sure those glutes, lift up a little bit more. Be perky. So Miney says, Shani, that's amazing. I see you, girl. I see you. Shani says, see, Miney, that's what I'm talking about, honey. Yes. Oh my gosh. So y'all, what I'm taking from this, because I'm almost at, let me finish it to get it in. Shani says, Money, I need to talk to you, honey. I have a question. I'm so scared of getting down to that size. I know if I lose 21 pounds, I will be at a four. Okay. Money says, yeah, I'm saying we tend to be diet culture. Right, right, which I agree with you earlier. And think do more and more and more. I'm going to talk about that, y'all. That more and more and more. Yeah, that's what I mean. I got you. Virginia laughing. All right, Money says, Shawnee, don't be scared, honey. When you get closer to goal, you may not necessarily want to weigh what you think you want. If I were to go to 150, I would have to lose muscle. Now I focus on the in-body scale, or scan, excuse me, scan, in-body scan. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Hip bursitis. Okay. Gotcha. Hip bursitis, y'all. I thought it was a sciatica, but hip bursitis is what she had. And was bothering her. She had to stop doing her little gym stuff. You know she love her gym, y'all. You know she's a gym brat. She's a gym brat. So yeah. Miss Grant says, Christy loves to run. She does. She does, y'all. But her hips have started hurting some afterward. So not as much now. Yes, you have to listen to that body. You got to listen to the body, yada yada. Money says, yes, girl, do some RDLs and hip thrusts to lift that glute shelf, honey. I know that's right. I know that's right. It's me trying to lift the glutes, right? It's my sister, my little sister. She is Tamika trying to build her pound cake, which is her glutes, right? She trying to rebuild them. She about to recomping. I'm about to recomping. You know, Miss Money say, "Girl, I got you, boo. I got you. I got you. I know what needs to be done, honey. I done did it. I have successfully did this thing." And so, yeah, I like listening to She is Tamika, Miss Money. You know, when it comes to those body recomp things to do. Yes. So yeah, other people too, other people too. So yeah, thank y'all for this stuff that y'all gave me, these ideas and things of that nature. Like I said, I wrote some stuff down. So what I'm gathering from this conversation that we've had, the beautiful conversation, is that do my cardio. It's fine to do it, right? It helps me with my heart, you know, making sure my heart is pumping well and things of that nature. It's good to do some cardio. Don't go too crazy with it now. Don't go too crazy. Okay. Do some cardio. Do some, you know, keep doing your strength training, sweetheart. Do that progressive overload. That is going to help you, you know. And I also learned that it also helps when it comes to heart health as well. The muscle building also helps. So keep doing that strength training, keep doing that cardio, and you're gonna be just all right, honey. You're gonna be all right. Make sure you do them RDLs, which I do. Make sure you're doing the hip thrust, which I do. I'm gonna add more to it though. I am gonna do it more often. I'm trying to get a good routine for me when it comes to that because I don't want to do too much at one time. I'm trying to think, should I focus on a certain thing for a certain period of time? That's what I'm trying to figure out, that gym thing as well. Because I am progressive overload. And I did go from like, say, maybe 60, like say it's for the hip abductor and the adductor. I went from like 60 to like 100, 130. Yeah. And so I didn't know I shouldn't go so fast, you know, whatever. I just went that one day that I did it. I went like, I was like, okay, we say progressive overload and we need to like make sure we're lifting heavier. You know, some people to fail, some people not to fail. They may lift a longer period of time, like add an extra set of reps. There's different ways to progressive overload, I've learned. So yeah, one is to fail, one is to lift, you know, add an extra set of reps, you know, or maybe extra, I'm sorry, extra set, right? So like the set is like how many times you're doing it, and then the reps will be the number of times you did it per set. So yeah, some people add more sets, some people add more reps, you know, within the set that they do, you know. So it's several different ways. As a matter of fact, I think it's at least 4 different ways that you can, you know, progressive overload. So I did do that very fast. I kind of scaled back a little bit because I'm like, why am I going that fast, you know, into it? Where am I, and then where am I going to progress to? whatever. And again, I don't want to hurt myself. I want to make sure that form is right. If you're doing your muscle, building your muscle and everything, make sure you got that form right. That's most important. Get the form right and then build upward, little by little by little, or what have you. So, yep. Let me see where I was at, Shiny. So that's what I'm learning from tonight's session. Also, when it comes to calories, if you are progressive overloading or doing weight training, you also need to make sure you're, eating enough calories. If you need to calorie cycle, you can do that, especially if you're on a GLP-1 or have had bariatric surgery or both. You need to make sure you're calorie cycling, making sure you're eating enough calories. You need to make sure you're eating enough macro and micronutrients. You don't want to undereat, because of, the tools that we've used to, cause us to help us lose weight. You want to make sure you're getting enough calories in. What that is, you talk to your dietitian about it, your dietitian nutritionist. If you have, especially if you have a comorbidities, if you just say just trying to lose weight and that's all you just got, you just obese and that's it, then you can talk to just a regular nutritionist. They can help you with like overall things to do when it comes to nutrition. But a dietitian nutritionist, the dietitian part, that they got those credentials to help you specifically when it comes down to helping with type 2 diabetes, things like type 2 diabetes, obesity, kidney disease, chronic kidney disease, hormonal imbalances, things of that nature, high cholesterol, or, things of that nature. They can help you with those illnesses that you have, those comorbidities that you have. You want to talk to a dietitian nutritionist. Shani says, yes, Miney started more of those a month ago and hip better, but ortho said no more jogging unless I want to have knee replacement years later. All right. So we're doing things now. That's another thing another takeaway. We're doing things now to help us with how we want to be later on in life. That's what I was talking about, the information I had given my dietitian nutritionist yesterday, the first time I've talked to Faye Nutritionist, who I'm going through now. Faye Nutritionist, because my insurance do not pay for Nourish, which is who mine goes through. I know I don't know if other people, use Nourish, but I heard her talk about Nourish so much. She spoke so highly of Nourish. I want to use Nourish, but my plan does not cover Nourish. So I found somebody that's supposed to be comparable to Nourish for those who are coming in late, and that's Faye Nutrition. She also said Twan uses Faye Nutrition. Monty told me. I couldn't remember what nutrition she used, but yeah, so Faye Nutrition is who she used as well. So yeah, so that's that. Those are things I have learned today, or reminders today, I should say. Also, Shani says, so she said she started a month ago and hip is better. Ortho said no more jogging. So that's why she's slowed down on her jogging. Or not, making sure she's walking more than jogging. And if you're in zone 2, Shani, I've heard that zone 2 is just as good as if you were jogging. Okay. For us. And also, if you do, for some reason, some people, whoever is on a treadmill, if you do that incline, that definitely helps as well. If you, like doing using that treadmill, or a weighted vest also can help as well. Ms. Jane says, good evening, Kim J, and all listening in. Thank you, Jane. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. She says she's playing her little games. Yes, yes, yes. All right, that she loves to play. It helps her kind of relax, relate, and release for the night. I hope you're doing well there, Miss Jane. Money says, yep, Shiny, I love hip thrusts, deadlifts, and RDLs. Yes, I like all of those. All of those are good exercises for us. And that I'm trying to incorporate more regularly in my regimen for exercise. That is where progressive overload comes in. And rest 40 to 90 seconds between sets. I'm sorry, 40 to 90 seconds between sets. That's another thing. Yep. If you rest a little bit, if I know some people do 1 to 2 minutes, but if you rest a little bit less. Sometimes that also can help, from what I hear with, when it comes to the progressive overload as well. Let me know, Monty, if you've heard that or know anything about that. Shani says, Monty, I bought a pair of 4 jeans the other day, but I think it was isolated. I'm in a 8 mostly. I plan to post that video, but it's hard to accept and don't want nobody saying, girl, you too small. I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. We always got an opinion, right? Whether we say it out loud or not, there's always an opinion. But you do what you have to do for yourself, Shiny. That's what I say. You know. Money says only pick one exercise to go to failure, and I go up 5 pounds each week. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't go all the way to failure with my exercises, but I do, like, I may increase my reps. Like I said, I would definitely I do increase my weights. Yeah, way more than what I was doing back when I first started, because I started my gym journey last May, and I've been doing it for a year now. So yeah, Money says yes, and I can, like I said, I can feel. That's one thing I'm still working on, because I can feel the muscle building. I can feel it. Like when you touch your legs, I can feel that muscle, you know, building in my body. Same thing with my arms. I can feel the muscle. My biceps are feeling like they're bigger now. For weight, the way my arms are made up, to me it's a little harder to see it, like just see it out, in the open, or share it with you all. But I definitely do feel it. So I'm just waiting on to see those results even more. And then I'm also, using that, about to use a body recomp scale as well, so it can, tell me what I'm looking like. I'm thinking about getting a DEXA scan. And again, the body recomp scales or scans, the M bodies, even the DEXA, y'all, they are not Bible. Okay, they are, but they definitely, DEXA is like the best scan out there. From what uh, I guess professionals or whatever states. InBody is like right up under that. Whatever at home that you can have a Refo, body recomp. You can have the Hume body recomp. Those are very good when it comes to body recomp. Or like, say if the scale is not moving, you can see if your muscle is building or if you're losing muscle. It shows you those things and give you trends. It provides trends for you, which is so important to make sure you get, you're getting your trend, so you'll know if you're doing better than where you were before, or if you're doing worse and you need to level up some. Um, Thank you for that, Money. She said, yes, Shiny, hard thing in our culture. I just am learning to ignore them. How about that? Because where were we? Where were they? I'm sorry. Where were they when I was 330 pounds, honey? Where were they when she was 330? Where were they when I was 253? Hmm? Where were they? Hmm? They might have been silent then too, though. They might have been looking like, girl, you need to lose some weight. But this wasn't saying it. They probably scared to say it. They probably scared to say it, truth be told. Hello, Miss Jerlene. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Hope you're doing well. Miss Shana says, right money. Where were they, honey? Some people be like, girl, you was big. What I'm telling you for? Some people do say that. Money says, we got this, girl. Yes, we do. We do. Thank you for that. And she says, a lot of places do in bodies for free. I know I've heard somebody say Planet Fitness does in bodies for free. And I'm like, not mine. I can't find nobody in my town that do at Planet Fitness. They're like, what is an in body? They didn't even know what I was talking about. But yeah, but I know Crunch Fitness, they have in-body scans that they do, but I have to then switch. And the Crunch Fitness is not close to my house. So it's gonna take me a while. I like going any time of night, right? I like going late at night. For one, because the gym is less crowded. For two, because if I want to film, I can film, or what have you. And I have to rush, to the thing and try to hurry up so I won't, people won't be passing by my film. They don't want to be in it, and I don't want them to be in it. Okay. Uh, so Shani says just had a Dexa, and the text said she would have never thought I lost over 100 pounds in such a short time. She said it must be genetics or I was lifting a lot. LOL. I know that's right. I know that's right. 100 pounds down, Miss Shiny. Yes, yes. Over 100 pounds down. She's over 100 pounds now. Miss Money, over 100 pounds. I know Miss Jolene is at like right on the cuff of 100 pounds down. Y'all, I don't remember everybody's weight, but yeah, awesome, y'all. Awesome, 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 awesome. Yes, yes, yes. To those who are over 100, even those who have lost 70 pounds, 50 pounds. I mean, no matter what you've lost, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. And keep doing the work. Keep doing the work. It's going to work out for you um, in due season. In due season, if you do not faint. So keep going. Don't worry about what the people say. You have to, like Shani was saying, like Miney was saying. Well, Miney said to Shani, you have to ignore those people. You have to learn to ignore those people because, baby, people just like talking. They just like talking. Sometimes they be jealous of you because you don't start losing and they not. They want to, but they can't. You know, some people, and most of the time that's what it is. Because if you've been on a weight loss journey and you're losing and then you see somebody else, you just get so excited for them. You be trying to tell them everything you can, to try to help them along their journey, just like, when it comes to, getting saved or whatever. When you get saved, you want everybody to get saved. You want to tell everybody, the goodness of the Lord. It's the same thing. When you're on this weight loss journey, you're on a better health journey, you just want to help anybody that wants to hear, that has an ear to hear, So, yeah. So a local nutrition place has it free here. Okay. But Burn Boot Camp does it free. Gotcha. Thank you for that, y'all. So you may have a nutrition place that also offers it, my name is saying, so y'all can check that. Hello, Chrisma. How you doing? Thanks for coming in. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. I'm good. She says namaste. Namaste to you, my beautiful sister. Yes, thank you so much. She said like. She hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button. Beautiful live stream. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you so much. She says super, super nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You are too, sweetheart. You are too, and very supportive. I greatly appreciate you. Krishna has a channel, y'all, as well. Krishna Creation. She has a channel as well, y'all, if y'all don't know her. Miney says, let me prep for arm and core in the morning. Pre-workout and snack packing right now. All right. And I wish you well, Miney. I do appreciate you. Miney, you told me to get with you. You want me? You got an email? Email me, sweetheart. Email me. If you can look on one of my descriptions. It definitely, I'll put it on this live. My email. Or did you already email me before? I can't remember if you emailed me before or not. Let's see. Hold up. I lost my place in the chat, y'all. Yes. So if you can hear me, still email me. I'm doing very well, very well, very well, y'all. All right, let's see. Okay, now I got it. Thank you for the love. I love you too, sweetheart. She said, "To God be the glory." Yes, amen, amen, honey. Oh, good. She said she's beautiful. She's doing well. Thank you for the hearts. Always love and support. Yes, ma'am. I thank you and I support you as well. Love you too. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sweetheart. Yes, Shani. And if she emailed me and she didn't get to see you, Shani, I'll let you know. Okay. Thank you. All right. Yes, ma'am. All right, y'all. So yes, that's my day. That's my thing. If y'all have not heard or got a chance to hear the beginning of it, y'all, I would greatly appreciate it if y'all go back and check it out. Your girl is talking to another dietitian nutritionist with Fay Nutrition, Fay Nutrition. And from what they're saying, it's comparable to the infamous Nourish Nutrition. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to her next week. I'm going to do some tracking for my dietitian and 3 times this week. And I'm going to try to learn how to enjoy tracking. Don't have to do it forever, she said. but definitely, tracking so I can make sure I'm meeting my protein, and especially on the dose that I'm on, I need to make sure I'm meeting my protein goals, my macronutrients, my protein, fat, and carb goals, and my micro nutrients, making sure I'm getting all my vitamins and minerals that I need to have, in my body so that I can be healthier. Okay. Not just lose weight, but be healthier. Okay. And then also when it comes to my strength training and my cardio, my heart health, very important to me. So, yes, I'm talking about going back to basics. This is the basic stuff that we have. I'm gonna also have another probably live going into more about back to the basics that I'm talking about that I want to do. Um, or what have you. I talked more about the nutrition side and the strength training and cardio, getting the movement in tonight. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about being, just like I said, going back to the basics. And that's the basics, y'all. The basics of this thing, of this better health journey, is getting better nutrition. Okay, knowing where your numbers need to be as far as the calories, the macro and the micronutrients, as well as, because you want to make sure vitamins, your minerals on spot, on point. You want to make sure that you get enough calories in. You don't want to eat too less of calories, and you don't eat too much either. Okay, because being too less or too much can hurt your weight loss journey. It can hurt the better health journey. Okay, having less nutrients in your body can make your hair fall out. If you're on this better health journey and you're on a GLP-1 or VSG, you've had surgery or what have you, and you're losing that hair, it could be because you are not getting enough nutrients in your body. So that's so important. And you want to make sure you get enough sleep. That's another thing we talked about in this live tonight. Getting enough sleep. So very important. That's how you build muscle, Miss Money had told us about. And I read about, did my Curious with Kim, and, read some information about that. These things that we're talking about today. Great live. Thank you, Shiny, for that. She said she's about to, it's a leg night, so she's going to lock in. I know that's right. Yes, y'all in the YouTube streets. See y'all, honey. I meant in the YouTube streets. Great live. Thank you, sweetheart. All right, y'all. I love you all. I hope the best for y'all. Wish the best for you all. And I will see you all soon. Okay? All right. Peace.